firstly, on behalf of Gavin and I, thank you very much for attending today. Today is about future-proofing your business. And I honestly believe the way that we interact with clients now has changed and probably changed forever. The principles that we've adopted during COVID-19, I think, will last well beyond COVID-19. And I honestly believe as well that advice as a commodity has really increased in value and in a post-Royal Commission world. So your clients are really seeking your advice during this time. And on a personal front, I've found that myself. I've been in touch with my accountant and my financial advisor regularly during this period, and they've provided some invaluable advice. As we move into our presentation today, just a little bit of background. Firstly, myself, I've had a 25-year career with AMP, and before going into my own business, which is Feedsy, about the last nearly 9 years now, Gav. When we started that, It was all about how do we save financial advisors time? How do we be compliant? How do we help them be compliant? And how do we make them relevant on a mobile device and in a digital capacity? And they were a lot of the pain points that we were trying to fix. And I guess the things that I saw firsthand when I was helping financial advisors back at AMP. So that was our passion and motivation for starting Feedsy.
And my background's a little bit different. Actually, Steve, what I might get you to do too is just maybe shut down that bottom bar that says show all. Yeah, close that one down there. Yep,
good.
That looks better. Yeah, so my background's quite different. I've had almost 30 years of experience as a graphic designer. This is how I first started. Got into brand design, digital marketing, and owned various agencies over the years. And my clients got bigger and bigger, but I actually wanted to work with smaller clients, people who I could actually have more of an immediate impact on. And I really enjoy working with, I guess, smaller businesses. So I got out of that, got involved with a few startups, including Feedsy. And it all started over a coffee that Steve and I had. In fact, we were both coaching our son's footy teams together. He was my assistant coach. And we had a coffee one day, and he explained to me what his problems were with his clients. And I went, hang on, I can actually give some of the stuff I'm giving these big clients to some of these smaller clients. I actually can work at a way of actually giving the big end of town stuff to the small end of town. So basically, that's what Feedsy is all about, basically giving these amazing, I guess, marketing tools for small business that usually only big businesses can afford. That's sort of my background. Yeah. Some of my work back here as well. This is some of my work back here. So some of my sort of branding stuff I've done in the past as well.
Very good. All right. So I guess moving forward into what today is all about, it's certainly about how we can redeploy some of the really time-consuming or often clunky communication functions, and how do we transform that into really add value to your advice business. So it's about creating efficiencies. And we do that through some really cool tools that Feedsy doesn't. Some of those, I guess I have to say, we get subscribed to as a customer of theirs, like Calendly and Zoom. But obviously, Feedsy is sort of our baby and our solution that we're sort of bringing to the advice world and sort of other businesses. But we want to sort of cover off on these three principles today to really create some new possibilities and overcome some communication hurdles that you might be facing to create some really clean efficiencies. Now we'll go through the agenda, and we'll do our first switch, and I'll make Gavin the host.
You can see my agenda there. Okay, so today we're going to basically, I guess, do some live demos, show how to set up and how to use Calendly, Zoom, and Feedsy. Now, and then we'll cover, I guess, some of the fees attached to these services. Now, just so we're talking about fees, we have no affiliation with Calendly or Zoom. There's no commissions being made. There's no affiliation. In fact, Zoom have no affiliation program, so we can't make any money out of this today with Zoom. We're showing you Calendly and Zoom because we use them ourselves every day, and we want to share them with you because we think they're fantastic. So just getting that clear, I suppose. We'll go through Calendly, automated bookings, online meetings, email automation, some social media stuff as well. Plus, we've got a special offer at the end too that you can stay tuned for. So Calendly makes it really, really super easy for people to make a booking with you. And what I'm going to do is quickly show you, in case you haven't seen it before, I'm going to show you how it works. So I'll actually show you like a live example. So here we go here. So basically, you give people a link to make a booking with you. And this is what people see. So this is for me. So people make a booking with me, they go, okay, well, Gavin's available next Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. So let's go for Tuesday. When's the time that's available? Say 12:30, confirm that. I then put in my details, I put in my other details here. This is a field you can use optional. You actually have a question you can ask people, like how can I help you in this meeting? That can be blank as well. You can also click their phone number if you wish to, but we reckon keep it to the bare minimum just to make it easier for people. So you might say, help me understand Calendly, say, schedule event, and then I'll get a notification. This is the user. They'll get a notification that yes, a meeting's been scheduled. It gets an email gets sent to me, which I can then click to a calendar link, and it goes into my calendar. So that's basically what a user sees, and this is, I guess, the workflow that Calendly does with somebody. So it basically, as you said, you can sort of make a booking. You get a confirmation over here. You then get given an email which says a meeting's happened. You can add it to your calendar. It also has a link to a Zoom meeting, and I'll show you that in a minute as well. So you can actually integrate Zoom and Calendly together. So a Zoom link gets automatically added to a meeting, and I'll show you that in a minute. It gets added to your calendar, where again has the links. People can also cancel their meeting or also reschedule too if they can't make it at the last minute. So it's all, that all gets managed for you as well. And then you get email or even text reminders X amount of days or hours before the event, and then you can customize that as well. So it's a really beautiful system where, you know, rather than trying to do emails and phone calls, trying to find a convenient time for each other, this system here looks at your diary, sees when there's available times, and then people can line it up and go, that's a good time, and it's all handled for you. So it's a really beautiful system. What I might do is quickly ask, oh, where's my poll gone? A quick question. So I'm going to ask a quick question now. Where is my polls? Okay, this is my first time we've used this as a co-host. I'm trying to find my here we are. My banner's over here, polling. So I'm going to ask a quick question. So this is, I guess, a feature of Zoom. So you guys should be able to see a poll on the screen. And if you just let me know, do you currently use anything like Calendly, whether you use Calendly or whether you use nothing at all, or whether you use something like it? Okay, some people use it already. So, okay, but for most of you haven't. Okay. Excellent. I'm going to end the poll. So thanks for that. That gives you some information to know. I might share the results too. So this is basically what you guys said. So that's good. So I will quickly show you, I guess those who are already using Calendly might not find this interesting because you're already using Calendly, but you might find some new tips from it. Okay, so show you how it works. So basically what you do with setting up is you do this once. You basically set up your profile. So you basically sign up to a free account or to a paid account. I'll show you how to sort of quickly set up your profile in a second. You can easily integrate it with Zoom. That's a really nice feature. And then basically you can create an event. An event's easy to set up. You can leave most of the things as default, and it's actually perfectly fine. And then you can always edit your event as well. I guess the important thing is it links up with your calendar. So you're linking up Calendly with a calendar and to a single calendar, and it can then look for spare times in that calendar and make sure there's nothing double booked. That's the beauty of Calendly. So basically, how it looks is like this. I need to go. Sorry, under a bit of pressure here. Exit full screen. I did try to go out of exit mode. Okay, so this is Calendly. So when you log into Calendly and set up an account for the first time, I'm in my profile settings up here. You can put a little welcome message. So this is basically, it can appear at the top of your Calendly page if people are going to your Calendly page. I'll show you how that works in a minute. You can put in your photograph, you can put in logos, you can put all sorts of things in. So you can also change the link. So the URL at the top here, when you give people a link, it'd be calendly.com/ whatever this is here. So you can just determine how that will look like. Yes, and it's got to be unique. So there's another Gavin out there. I couldn't use Gavin because otherwise it's the same link as someone else's Calendly. So it's got to be a unique one as well. I guess if you go to save it and it's already being used, it'll say, no, you got to use something else. That's basically how you can sort of customize the look of your links. Next you want to do is integration. So if you're using Zoom, which we recommend you do, what you can do in integrations is actually click onto Zoom here, and you can actually link your Zoom account to Calendly, which is really easy to do. You just basically go Zoom, you put in your email address, and it usually finds it pretty quickly, actually. It's pretty easy to do. And what happens then is when you actually do a new event and you want to have a meeting via Zoom, it actually automatically create a Zoom link for you and put it in there for you automatically. It's really nice. So that's something we definitely recommend you doing. In fact, I didn't know about that until quite recently. It's actually quite a new thing for us, but it's actually a really nice feature. So now we actually also are recording this session. So if I'm going too fast for you, you can always go back and watch the recording afterwards. Now, I've actually got lots of different events. I've got a 50-minute chat, 30-minute chat, 60-minute, and so forth. You might just have one. And in fact, if you have the free account, you can only have one kind. But what happens with the event is that you have to have a time limit on the meeting. So we like having some short ones, middle ones, and some long ones. But you might just have a block, maybe a 60-minute one is your default. That's all you have. So basically, if you want to create a new event, you go new event. It's pretty easy. Like I said, it's already linked to my calendar already. You can choose to be a one-on-one or a group meeting. So you might one-on-one meeting means if somebody's booked the meeting, nobody else can actually book it over the top of it. Group means it'll actually remain open so people can join the meeting as well. So I use group meetings, for instance, for training sessions where multiple people can come into a training session. Whereas one-on-one is for a meeting, obviously, where you don't want people to come into the meeting that you're already having with someone else. So you can choose to have one of each. So let's do a one-on-one, and you give it a name. Let's call it a meeting. It could be called anything. Location. Now, the location could be a physical location, could be a phone call. So you got some different sort of options here, but you can go Zoom. If you go Zoom conference, all the integration work that I was talked to you about will bring in all the information you need for the attendee. You don't need to worry about any links or anything. It does it all for you. Plus, it actually creates a new meeting in Zoom as well. It's a really nice system. You can give a description. You don't need to do, but you can give a description there. And then there's the link for it. So the link will be calendly.com, then your URL, the Feedsy Gavin or whatever you're calling your own, and then the actual meeting URL as well. So that's actually the link that you can give people to do it. So that's the actual meeting itself. Then you go, okay, what's the meeting is? Okay, it's going to be a 60-minute meeting. You can do a custom amount of minutes. So that's how much time to block out. It shows your calendar. Actually shows your calendar. And by default, it does 9 to 5. It's only going to let you do a time between 9 and 5. But you might go, oh, I want to do it only in the morning, say 9 to 1. So you click on, say, Mondays. You go Mondays. I only want to be available to, say, 1 in the afternoon on Mondays. You can go to just that day only, or maybe to all Mondays. So from now on, all Mondays are only going to be 9 to 1 that are available. You might go Tuesdays. I'm unavailable. I'm unavailable on all Tuesdays. So you can sort of customize how the days are and which days are available. So you can see it looks ahead for you. All the Tuesdays are now blocked out. All the Mondays are here, but you might go, oh, look, next Wednesday, I'm not available next Wednesday, but it's only that day. So only that day will be unavailable. So it's quite easy to quickly set up this thing into the recurrence of your Calendly, and it's pretty easy. So that's how you sort of set up what people will see as available. And then you basically go invite your questions. This is basically where you go, I want to collect their name and their email address. You can add other things as well. You have other questions. You have another question here. Like, please share anything that might help us prepare for a meeting. That's the default setting. You might just keep that, or you might get rid of that. You might just go there and just delete the question. So you can actually add or delete questions however you like. So it's pretty easy to customize that. We recommend keeping it pretty minimal. Don't ask for too many things unless you need to have their information, unless you need to have their phone number or something in case you need to call them or something.
Adrian just asked about privacy and drop-ins and things like that. We will be covering that question shortly when we talk a little bit more about Zoom. So I've just responded to you privately, Adrian, but that's probably a question that went to the group.
Yep. So privacy, this information is given to you. Calendly have their own privacy policy, but Calendly won't use your details for any purposes. And people can't drop into a meeting unless they've got the link to the meeting. And if it's a one-on-one meeting, then they won't be able to go into it because it's been blocked because someone's already booked the meeting. So if someone books the meeting, the time's unavailable now, it's gone. If it's a group meeting, it means it's still available, which means people can book it and actually join the meeting. But it depends. If your meeting's a face-to-face meeting at an address, they need to actually rock up to the address to actually be there. So it depends on what sort of meeting it is. If it's a phone
and in
meeting,
Zoom, you can actually put some password options in as well, Adrian, so that you can stop people even coming in if they don't have a password. And once you're in the meeting, you can actually block the meeting from anyone entering it. So you've got a few options like that in in Zoom?
Yeah, good question though. And then there's notifications. So again, you can leave this as default because they're actually pretty good, most of them. But you can personalize the message. This has some sort of short code, sort of saying the invite full name and my name. So basically, it would be saying the invitee will be, the person inviting. This is the person who actually is attending. So this is going to grab in the data automatically. We recommend keeping these as default. No need to change them. What will happen is the Zoom link will be given to them at another stage. But yes, again, the location will be your address, which you've already put into the location earlier up here. So we recommend just keeping this as default. There's no need to change it, but you can also change what it says. So you've basically got calendar invitations. You've also got, so that goes to the calendar. That's what they see in their calendar. And this is what they see in the email that they receive. Again, we recommend just keeping it the way it is. Hang on. Never mind. So I'm going to close it here. You can do email cancellations. You can sort of have it so that if you need to cancel a meeting, what it says to the person. Email reminders, we recommend having that turned on. It's actually a really good idea. And you can personalize the email reminder saying, hey, your meeting's happening soon. And you can say 24 hours before, 2 hours before. You can actually change the day. You can make it days before. You can also add a second reminder too. You might want a day before or maybe one an hour before. It's entirely up to you. Email follow-up is totally optional. I don't often use that one. I know Steve does sometimes. But basically, you want to have an automatic email that goes out after the meeting. That'll happen as well. And you can customize that message. You have a link in there too. So maybe a link to your website or something. It's totally up to you. You can even do text reminders. So this only is on the more advanced plans. So it costs money to do this. But if you need to do this, you'll see it will say you need a plan for this. But you can also do text reminders too. So they've provided an email, a mobile number. You can also send a text reminder as well. So that's all at your disposal. But in most cases, you can leave things as default. We recommend turning on the email reminder one. It's actually just a good idea. I know I'm going very fast here, but yes, it's not that hard. Confirmation page. So this is the page people see once they've actually done their booking. You saw mine before. You can just try that gets displayed. You can also, so the confirmation page can actually go to your email, to your website perhaps, and have a special page there if your developer's done something for you like that. But we recommend that there be a custom link there. But we recommend just using the default. The defaults look pretty good. And if you're taking payments, if it's a meeting where you're charging for the meeting and they're paying by credit card for that meeting, you can do that here as well, but we don't use that. So I won't go through that today. I probably won't apply to you guys either. But it's pretty easy to set up. If you leave things as default, most things are pretty good. Then what will happen is that meeting will then appear into your, it'll go into all your events. So there it is, the new meeting has been created. If you want to edit it, you click on the edit button here and edit it. It's pretty easy. And basically, if you want to invite someone to a meeting, there's different ways of doing it. But basically, this link here is the link of the meeting. So the link will be, the calendly.event.com. It'd be your URL, like Gavin Feedsy /meeting. If you copy that there, you can paste it into anywhere you like and invite people to things. In fact, I'll show you that right now, how that sort of looks. So you can, I'm going to go to here. All right. Okay, so that link that you copied, you can sort of have it as a hyperlink here. You can actually link that text to that link there. You can put it, say, in your email newsletter, which is what we do now as well. So basically, when people click on that, it goes to that page where people can book something. Also, you can also add it to your website. So if you click on that icon again, you can go add to your website. It gives you some options of how you want to display it, and then you can it gives you some code that gives you a developer. In this case here, we put the code. We've actually put lots of code in for 2 different calendars on our demo or chat page. We've actually got Steve's diary and my diary put in there through Calendly. So it's pretty convenient. So they make it really easy for you to either put a link or to actually embed it into a website. So again, we can help you do that as well if you need some help with that. All right, that is Calendly. Any other questions in the Q&A there from anybody, Steve?
That's all at this stage, Gav.
Cool. Okay. Like I said, if we've got any questions beyond today, just contact us and we can give you a hand. We'll help you with that. All right. Zoom. Okay. So Zoom, I guess, as you probably have I guess if you haven't heard about Zoom, you've been living under a rock for a while, because it's been all over the news. In fact, I heard a funny story about Zoom. I saw that the shares of Zoom are going through the roof because people are going crazy getting Zoom. But there's also another Zoom business out there which actually went bust a few years ago, which is still on the stock exchange for some reason. People are buying shares for that as well. So both stocks of Zoom and the other Zoom have been going crazy. So I'm not sure that's going to work. But to see it in action, I'm going to show you this video. Now, I know Steve's a bit nervous about this one, about this video. This to me is a very funny video of showing, I guess, what can go wrong in Zoom. But this sort of shows you also how Zoom works as well. So I'm not sure whether you've seen this Jennifer video, but I think it's quite funny. It's just going to load up here on YouTube. Here we go. There's an advert, of course, because it's very popular, this one. And skip ad. Okay, so this is actually an actual Zoom meeting. So Zoom, you can see people here in the meeting. Now this person here has forgotten that her camera's turned on. Watch this person here. She's got a laptop with her. She's taking it with her so she can watch the meeting, but she's got her camera turned on. And she goes to the toilet. So we have just be mindful that people can see you. And people wife last night was actually on a webinar, and actually one of our friends was on the webinar. It was a global webinar, and she had her camera and audio turned on, and her, because she was watching the webinar as she was having a dinner, but people were watching her and hearing her have dinner in her kitchen. And so I had to text her to say, turn it off, turn it off. So just be mindful that people can see you. But that's basically Zoom in action. Basically, you can see people together, have a meeting together, and it's a bit like what we're doing now in our webinar here, but a bit different. So again, I'm going to ask a quick question to see. Now, what do I do for the new poll? Stop sharing that. And I'm going to go to a new poll. Okay, so a similar question, just to get an idea about whether you guys are currently using anything like Zoom, or whether you, so this is basically if you're hosting meetings, you're not just to watch one, but you're actually hosting things yourself. Okay, so some are. So I guess people who are using something similar to Zoom, I imagine it's probably like Google Hangouts, or maybe Team. Actually, those who are using something else, maybe just put in your comments down the bottom what you're using. So you might be using Microsoft Teams, or Skype, or something like that. Anybody? Okay, so therefore I won't go too far into too many details about Zoom, because most of you are using Zoom, but we'll quickly, maybe you might get some tips for us along the way. So I guess Zoom is great, where this is what the receiver sees, and you probably know this already, being a receiver yourself perhaps, is with Zoom, if you've got Zoom already installed, you can actually go to your structured Zoom program and do it, or you might get asked to download Zoom. It's quite a simple process for the end user to download, and then to open it, and then to maybe put in their name for the first time, so people can see your name, and then you basically join it by audio and also join it by video as well. So it's actually a reasonably simple process. People get unstuck often when the audio doesn't work. That's where you can use chat to actually communicate with them, saying, have you got audio? If you haven't got audio, give me a call, or use the phone link. But that's basically how I guess it looks from the user's perspective. I guess here's some things you may or may not know about on a Zoom meeting. So at the moment, this is called a gallery view, where you basically, the main speaker is the biggest person, and the other people are quite small. Click up here, you can go to grid view, and that shows you, I guess, a bit like that Jennifer video, where it's seen as a grid. And well, I actually prefer grid view. It's more, you can it's more even. You can sort of see people at a glance. So I often recommend clicking up here and just choosing grid view. It's like a toggle switch. You can also go full screen to make it the full screen or not full screen. And over here, you've got settings for sound and for video. What people often don't know is that's actually a settings thing here. So if you've got different microphones, you can go on there and maybe change your microphone over. So I'm on my remote Bluetooth, so I can actually choose that versus the in computer one. So that's basically where you can do your settings. Similarly here with video, that button there, the arrow there gives you settings. And that's where you can do things like, you know, you've seen those virtual backgrounds sometimes where there's actually a background behind them. They actually, you know, they're in space or something, or they're in the Himalayas, or they're in the countryside in Britain. That's where you can do that there in settings. And I think your computer needs to have a certain amount of computer power to be able to do that. So you might not be able to do virtual backgrounds. But if you see people doing virtual backgrounds and go, how are they doing that? That's how they're doing it there. It's in settings in video. And if you don't want people to see or hear you, you can mute yourself, but also you can stop the video as well. So in the case of a webinar like this, if everybody was talking, we wouldn't be able to hear anything. So we turn your audio off by default. So yes, you can turn people off as well. You can do that for participants here. You can actually click on the person, see who they are, click on their audio or visual, turn them on or off as well. So you've got control about the audio and video. Yeah, so if people want to do their own, they can do that as well. But you can also block them by doing here. So that's where, if you can't be heard or be seen, it's in the bottom corner here is where you do that down the bottom of the screen. So participants, you can see who's actually in the meeting. Chat, that's where you can basically send people a chat. So you can actually also provide files. So you might have a link to something or upload something during the meeting. So you can use chat to do that as well. It's actually a really handy feature. So you go, hey, I'll just send you a link. There you go. Look, check your chat. There it is. People can check the chat and they'll be able to see the link. So it's a really good way of communicating. And that's often where I'll go, can you hear me? I can't hear you. And they go, no, I've got a microphone. You go, okay, call me on this number then. So it's a really good way of communicating if you haven't got audio. Share screen. So we're sharing our screen now. But share screen is how you share screen. You click share screen. If you've got multiple screens, it says which screen you want to share. Choose your screen and go share. You can share your screen. You can share the screen both ways. So basically, someone else can share the screen with you, or you can share your screen with them. It's just a matter of only one person can do things at once. You need to go stop share, then the other person does it. And also you can record a meeting too. So you can record, only the host can record, so somebody else can't record it. We recommend if you're having a meeting, in particular, and recording, that you ask first, just so you know that they're being recorded. A bit like the courtesy when you say, you know, your phone call might be recorded for training purposes. It's just a convenience for privacy to say, I'm going to record this meeting just as a record. And so maybe I'll give you a copy of the video if you want to at the end. We don't use recording very often for a meeting, but we do use recording for webinars like today. So if people who didn't attend the webinar can also get a copy. But because we're not doing anything really personal here, we're not sort of hearing people speak, there's no privacy details to worry about. But if you're doing a recorded meeting where you're seeing people talk, you want to get their permission before you do that. And meeting settings. So when you do your settings, so this is your settings before a meeting. Usually you only do this once. It's a global setting you do. There's actually tons and tons of settings. We recommend keeping your most as default, but to do your settings, you don't do it from the program on your desktop. You have to go to the online version of Zoom. So you go to zoom.us and you go to log in, and then you got all your settings for everything. Then you go to settings over here, and you can go through and update settings. So there are lots of things you can do. We don't recommend you have to go through all of them. Some of the, I guess, the tips we are looking out for, we recommend looking out for, is to allow people to transfer files via chat, yes or no. So it's up to you. You might say, no, I don't want to that to happen. I think by default it's turned off, but you might want to turn it on. Do you want to display the end of meeting surveys? So if you've done a survey, do you want to display them? Do you want to allow polling questions? So you actually, the polling questions I've just done now, you can do for meetings as well. Allow screen sharing, yes or no. So you might say, no, I don't want them to share their screen with me ever. You can turn that off. Allow whiteboard. That actually is a feature where it allows you to draw on the screen. You can sort of scribble on it. So at the top of you go to the top of your, actually, if you can do it now, if you go to the top of your Zoom, where your Zoom controls are, there is annotate. If you go to annotate, you'll be able to, if we've allowed it, you'll be able to sort of draw on the screen. So I'm not sure. I think, is it turned on, Steve?
Not sure if it is, Gav. No.
Yeah, I've got it on mine, so I'm pretty sure it will be available. So maybe just to see it in action.
It's probably more so for the presenter, I think, to annotate while they're presenting.
No, people can actually draw on your screens. They actually ask people. It's a good way of getting people involved. You might go, circle which one you think is the best option for you. So actually, people can actually choose to annotate. They can annotate by, either writing or they can draw. So even for drawing, they can just draw something, just draw like that. So you can sort of annotate on the screen. So annotate that to do that. So you need to actually allow that first. It's called whiteboarding here. Virtual backgrounds, allow virtual backgrounds. security. You also can have password protection, as Steve said before, so you can actually say that you must have a password to get in. Password gets sent to the person before the meeting, but only the person gets the password, obviously. So they must enter a password before they start. That's totally optional, but it's something you can turn on or off. Authentication is a very similar thing to that. You can embed the password for one-click join, which is a way of sort of bypassing having to type it in. You can mute. Also, you can have people so they're muted or disabled on the video as they enter. So you can either go, if people enter, they're automatically turned on or they're automatically turned off. So you can also choose as well. So for instance, in a webinar, we would have it turned off by default, but for a meeting, you might have it turned on by default. But it's sort of, you want people to be able to see people and hear people straight away. All right. Oh, turn my annotations off because I don't want to stop annotating. All right. To invite people, I might get rid of that. Okay, so there's a trap for young players. The the annotation stays on the screen the whole time. I know I did a training course recently where they did this, so that's why I know about this feature. It's a really cool feature, but I didn't turn the annotation off. So I need to actually delete that. Clear all drawings. There you go. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to Zoom. Okay, so to invite people to a Zoom meeting, so in your Zoom program, you can actually invite people to, you have I guess a generic meeting you can invite people to. This is your personal profile. So you can just do an ad hoc meeting, you can just use that meeting profile there, and you can basically either copy the entire invitation, which has all the text you need here, like that. You can paste it into say, calendar invite or anywhere you like. Or sometimes what I just do is I just see the meeting information down here. There's a little link here saying see meeting invitation. Click on that and just copy and paste the Zoom link here and just paste the Zoom link only. So I might say, hi John, here's a link to our meeting, and just have the link here only. So that's I guess a way that you don't have to read everything here. You can control exactly what people see, but just by having that there. That's another way of doing it as well. So it might just be for a text or for an email to somebody who you want to go. Just have a quick Zoom meeting. Here's a link. Go for it. If people are booking up meetings through Calendly, so someone that's booked a Calendly meeting with you, what will happen is that'll appear here as another meeting. These are like scheduled meetings, so they'll actually be listed here. So there's a specific link to that specific meeting. So it's very secure, and it just means that you know exactly who's going to be in that meeting, because when you click on that, only that person can join that meeting. So that's you don't invite people to those because they've already been invited to those meetings already. This is basically like just the ones you're inviting to your personal profile ID here. So they make it pretty easy for you. Copy invitation or see it and copy and paste it. But you basically copy and paste that information into either a calendar or an email or a text or something. I know too that yeah, so that's a really it's really easy to invite people to a meeting. You just need to have the Zoom thing open up to do that. There's also some nice integrations. You actually can invite people to Zoom meetings from inside of Chrome, from inside of Firefox, from inside of Gmail. So you actually can sort of put a Zoom link direct into Gmail. When you do that, that'll create a meeting in your Zoom as well. So it's another way of inviting people, but it integrates Zoom. It does all that. You don't have to go to Zoom to do that. You can do that from within these programs here. And you've already seen that Calendly allows you to do integrations as well. So you can actually book meetings for Zoom outside of Zoom through these platforms here using integrations. So basically download these plugins, link your account to it, and then it's easier from then on. And Calendly, as I showed you before, it does it quite easily by integration Zoom, and then it just does it all for you. So there's really nice things that are integrated. It actually makes it really easy for you in both those programs. So I might hand this back over to Steve now to give you some tips on virtual meetings. One will obviously be don't go to the toilet, but I will just I'll quickly pass you over to Steve. So I've got to quickly do a little change here. I've got to make you a host.
Thanks, Gus. That was great.
Change host, and I'll stop my share. So you better do your thing now.
Yep, and it certainly has made our world so much easier, hasn't it, Gav? With
oh, absolutely. We've been using Zoom basically from day zero, because we do a lot of demonstrations using Zoom, probably most of our demonstrations, and we've got clients all over Australia. So it's a really fast way of sharing our screen, having a discussion. We do it with our training as well. Our trainings are done via Zoom. We've been using Zoom for years. We love it. It's fantastic.
Good. All right, we're back on track here, and we'll continue on. So thanks, guys. Basically, Let's have a look here. Where are we? There we go. Be wary of surroundings. I think we've actually covered that one pretty clearly, whether you use a virtual background or not, but be well aware of what you're seeing in the background. And, and I think clothing and dress is really important, but I think people now are well aware that we're actually working from home. And if you start to dress up in a suit and tie in a home environment, it can look a little bit weird. So I think the general tip here is to be in sync with your environment. So if you are working from home, dress accordingly. If you are doing a Zoom meeting from an office, then perhaps you might dress appropriately there as well. Energy levels, I was noticing you while you were presenting too, Gav, give yourself a bit of space from the camera so you can actually use your hands and gestures and things like that. And that can actually help with energy levels and engagement in the room. So just give you a little bit of space from the camera. And I think, where appropriate, where you're doing a one-on-one meeting, perhaps, even use people's names in the room as well to keep their engagement on board. And I guess what we've been doing a little bit today with having polling questions as well is allowing some participation from the room. Recordings, I think this might take on a whole new environment really, I think, when you're able to record meetings for your file notes and you have cloud recordings of that, and you might attach that link to a file note of the meeting so that you can actually take your your strategies from that meeting, or it could be the basis of your record of advice. So that's where it could occur in the future. And I think some future stuff around what your license might allow with recordings as to how you can use it in the advice process.
Actually, I might add too, I might quickly add with the recordings too, I forgot to mention too before that with recordings, you've got two choices. So when your meeting finishes, do you want to save this recording on your desktop? Do you want to download the file, or do you want to keep it on Zoom? So you've got an option to actually keep it cloud hosted in Zoom or to download it yourself. Sorry, Steve.
You're good. No, you're all right. Good. So we'll just take that poll off there. All right. So yeah, I think equipment as well is, we've talked about that. Gavin's wearing a headphones today. I'm wearing some AirPods. It's just the equipment. Whether you use a phone, an iPad, a computer, all these sorts of things give you a different result in terms of how that meeting's portrayed. So just, I guess, some little tips there. Microphones do allow things to be a lot clearer for your audience, and also lighting. And I've got a little, not sure here, a little light, for the meeting. So just things that might light up your environment or your face or whatever it is, just to help you in terms of that presentation. So it does actually give that a little bit visual approach to come across better with an engagement. So I hope that does help a little bit with some tips for virtual meetings.
So you can actually just use your webcam too on your computer. You don't need to get expensive equipment, but you do get a better result. You get better sound because the microphone is close to your mouth. You don't get the echo around you. And also you get to hear better too. Often it's hard to hear sometimes. So headphones really help. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I think now I want to move into the Feedsy side of the presentation, where we're going to show you an example of how some of our clients are using our services. So Feedsy is all about engaging with clients in less time. It can take you little to no time at all. And I'd like to launch into what our newsletter platform actually looks like, and importantly, the weekly content that you have to share. So one of our clients, I'm going to click on here now and launch into what their monthly email might look like. And it's all nice and personalized. Hi, Steve. As Gavin pointed out, we can have little, contact us buttons here, or book you might highlight some of that to book a time with you via your Calendly appointment booking and Zoom meeting. So you can have all that built into this text up here. But importantly, you've got all this beautiful content. Now we're going to explore a little bit later on how you can personalize some content by way of video, but Pilot quite often use just don't do anything at all. They just sit back and let their stories go out. So if their newsletter looks like this, beautiful and visual, clients can click on any of these stories.
Actually, maybe go down and show the disclaimer. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can do that shortly. If we go straight into that story, we've got this beautiful story here at the moment. Clients can read that. They can absolutely, share it at the bottom. And every story is actually has the disclosure statement, general advice warning, links to privacy, FSG, and all that sort of thing. And people can, if you've shared it socially, subscribe to your newsletter, which is really important as well, and importantly, contact you. But it can see other stories that might be really relevant and current at the time. If we do go back, Gav, like I said, absolutely. On the bottom of the email, you've got all the stories here, but the disclosure statements all there. Again, privacy, unsubscribe, all that sort of thing is there. And we work with your licensee, and we do know AMP and HUROS's disclosure requirements, and have been working with a number of advisors for the AMP and HUROS groups to get that disclosure absolutely right, and we'll work with your compliance managers on it. So it gives you an idea of what the email and the news page looks like. And I guess really importantly, you're
maybe
actually reading...
show the entire web page, show the whole page maybe.
Yep, so basically you've got your story here, and then you've got quick links because you're reading it on their site. It's all the news.pilotwealth, and then you can go to the advisor's own website essentially, and that's really, oh, this is pretty cool. This is what they do. They do cash flow analysis, they do a bit of accounting, they think big picture, advice areas, all that sort of thing, and they directly link to their page. And you can go back to the news page, which is all Feedsy integration. These are all the latest Feedsy stories. They get economic updates, they get some travel itinerary, they get some coronavirus material, government announcements and things like that, economic updates, and you get to choose what content you like out of about 20 odd different categories. So that's pretty cool, and it's all in your brand. You know, Feedsy doesn't get a mention. It's all about your brand. So I guess a quick question in relation to this. I'll just go on to launch this particular poll. If you don't mind, just sort of quickly answering that question, whether you use something like Feedsy or Feedsy, or you actually send things through MailChimp, or you don't have a newsletter, you manually send. Some of the answers are coming back there. So I'll keep going while some of that question is use something like Feedsy. Yep, good. So manually send. Yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about, is some efficiencies that you could achieve as well, which is really important. So we're going to touch base, go through how Feedsy works, how to set it up, and how to use it. I'll play this little video for everyone, which is about a minute long, and it's a good little video.
Oh, I can't hear it, Steve.
Couldn't hear it?
No.
No, okay. I'll talk to it. I couldn't hear you, Jennifer, one either, so it might be something to do with the sharing that we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so essentially what happens is with every client of ours, every Feedsy user has a Feedsy Center. We'll be diving into this Feedsy Center shortly to show you how you can manipulate stories. But we send news and commentary to the Feedsy Center. We include economic updates, and the great thing for AMP advisors and HUROS advisors is that we do use Shane Oliver with the Oliver's Insights and Market Watch, and all that comes in here. And also you can add an unlimited amount of your material, including video, and we are going to add some video today as well. And this culminates in a beautiful list of stories that you can prioritize in the order you want. And if you do nothing at all, the most recent 10 stories actually get sent out to your own beautiful looking email, a little bit like what we saw with Pilot. They sit 24/7 on your own news blog on your website, and you can go and to and from your website. So it's really cool how that works, all in your brand, and you're in control. But you can sit back and do nothing at all, which is the beauty of it. I'll keep going because I'm going to show you some of that material. As we saw, I want you to touch on this. Probably the main thing to take away from this slide is the story mix. So we've got a lot of finance categories on the Australian commodity and the like. And we saw what it looks like in the Pilot brand. But all these link to and from your website, and you can add original stories whenever you like. So you've got taxation stories, AMP stories, which I've mentioned, self-managed stories, travel, health and fitness, entertainment, lifestyle, general, technology, business stories, and property stories. So you really determine the content mix for your clients. You know your clients better than anyone. We've also added in, by way of bonus engagement, is quotes, and these are quite good just to share. People engage quite often with a simple quote. They can like it, they can share it, and some people even copy these images and do it via Instagram as well. TED Talks, obviously we've got some great leadership TED Talks, and they make great podcasts as well, even if you don't actually watch them. You can actually sound them through your car system or bus or whatever, and actually listen to them, which is really good. So it's like a podcast TED Talk, and this one's a great on what makes great leaders. We've also got a lot of data videos as well. That could be, from the world's tallest buildings or home gadgets or whatever it might be. So just really testing, a bit of fun to watch, in essence, is what that's all about, to try and make it a little bit light-hearted and entertaining. Monthly newsletters. So we've had a look at pilots again, but it looks great on iPads. It looks great on iPhones. Obviously, content just sizes beautifully for any mobile device. And you've got fresh, stories populating these emails. It's all personalized. So, hi Gary, hi Steve, hi Fred, basically. And you've got an introduction here, and it all comes from you. It's all about your brand. It's not about Feedsy. It's all about your brand and your relationship with your client. Of course, when any email goes out, everyone wants to know, are people reading it? And I suppose with a question to people that might be manually sending them, some people send PDFs, some people send links, but can you track and measure and analyze what's happening with your emails? And I think that's really important with any time or any money that you're spending on marketing solutions and email solutions. It's not just what you're spending, but it's maybe how much time you're spending on it. Have you got a reward in terms of how people are engaging with the activity? So if you can measure that over time, you start to put some, analysis behind it. This is worthwhile. People are actually reading my news. They actually really like the material I come up with, the personal information. So I'm going to do more of that because that's what's driving a lot of engagement. And you can see with this example, the personal one here was 23 compared to the other top story 8. The personal engagement does actually work. But the important thing is you can track it. You can dig a little bit deeper and find out what your individual clients are reading. So this particular client has read 67% of those articles. They've shared 0. They've got 42 clicks within articles and a bit of a timeline of everything they've actually opened. So that's a great way of analysing what clients are reading.
Actually, Steve, I just had a question on the Q&A about emails. The question was, can you customize the newsletters to different age groups in your database? One newsletter for retirees and another newsletter for accumulation clients. Yes, you can. So you can, it's called segmentation. So one of our plans, we have a thing called segmentation. So you can actually create segments, and actually you can create different things for different people. One thing we have noticed, though, that most of the clients actually will send out, I guess, a broader thing to all their network, because often what happens too, even though you can do segmentation, you might find that, I might get the email, but it's actually, I think my mum shouldn't read this because it's actually about retirement. So actually, I'm about to retire myself. Well, not that old. Or it might be something about school kids or education or something that my mum might get. She might go, oh, my kids should see that. My grandkids might want to see that. So often we find the content is sort of cross-generational and cross-product, I suppose, as well, where people might recommend it to their friends. So often there's an advantage of actually giving stuff that's more broad to more people, so they can actually go, actually, that's not for me, that's for someone else I can share it with. That's just a comment, but you definitely can segment things if you need to.
Yeah, no, good point. And you can have, under one of our products, you can have, automation with one particular category going out to that retiree group, if you like, as well. So the answer is yes, and there's valid reasons why you do exactly what Gavin's doing as well. We have that broad readership, but we listen to every practice that we talk with, and to say what you would like to achieve, and we basically set it up in accordance with what you want to achieve.
Yep, exactly.
So getting started is obviously very easy. We take you through uploading subscribers. We do provide training, and unlimited support is for free, ongoing for you and any of your staff, and you can do that whenever you like.
And the training is the same, yes. The training is also, it takes 60 minutes, but if you have a new person joining you in a year's time, or they get free training as well. Training is always free and is always available. Cool.
Now, I recognise we've got about 10 minutes left. We've still got a bit to get through, so I'm going to keep moving.
All right, cool.
We've got, I guess, marketing reminders, which really sets your marketing calendar, in essence. So every week, you will get notification that new stories have arrived. And every month, you will get notification that, a week in advance, that your email newsletter will go out. if you do nothing, these happen. But you've got a nice marketing calendar set to say, you know what, I've got this all taken care of. It's so nice that my marketing calendar for the year is just done and I don't have to do anything. But if I want to, I've got these little reminders from Feedsy to say I can go in and do that. And that's the beauty of it. So an automated marketing calendar with reminders, keeping you informed, keeping your clients informed, and keeping you regular. And that's what is beautiful about our system. How does that look? So this is an example of one of the emails. And from here, you can click on this, review or add stories. And if I do that now, it takes me straight into my Feedsy dashboard, and all the new stories are here, and I can start to just rearrange the story order. And if I want to have a look at I guess what that looks like in terms of what a client would see, they would see that thank you thing first, feedback second, how to set up a budget. And if I want to change that and put how much tax should I pay number one, it's instantly updated, which is a beautiful thing. So if my email was going to go out tomorrow, basically that article, how I've just moved it, would be the very first article on screen. So just waiting for that to refresh. So that's what does actually occur. Well,
one downside of Zoom, when you're on Zoom, things go slow.
Things go slow.
It's using a lot of your bandwidth. Yeah.
We needed that comment, that extra time there, Gav, from you saying that. So see, we've just added that tax article there now. And if my auto email was about to happen tomorrow morning, that would now be the first article, second, third, and the last one. So whenever you add articles, you control what is sent to clients, but the automation of it is all taken care of. But if you want to stop or pause, you can do that as well. So that's how you sort of just you change. It's as simple as that. You can just and then add a new one here. But we'll do that in a moment when I do a video.
Yeah, you can also delete stories too. You can also just simply trash the story if you don't like it.
Yep. Good. So I guess we've got a last question here, haven't we? But I'll do that's about social media. So I'm going to not do that one just yet. So we're going to, I guess, go through and personalize a newsletter and then perhaps share it socially. But we'll just ask it quickly, Gav, while I'm doing it, because everyone can probably do it while I talk. So do you share currently? We only share content. There's a 4 little questions there, if you wouldn't mind going through that.
Yeah, so,
okay,
so whether you share stuff from your own blog, So whether you share stuff from your own blog, whether you share stuff from stuff you find online, and whether you don't share stuff at all, and whether you have social media. I guess the other four questions there.
Yeah, good. Now, recently, or just earlier this week, actually, Gav, we sent this video out to about 1,500 advisors, and basically,
our newsletter,
and in our newsletter. And essentially, it was just really a bit of a thank you to the advice industry as to, well, I'll play a little bit of it here. So this is a video and how it can appear in your newsletter. But you won't be able to hear it actually, will you? So, but see, if you click on it, it appears in your post, and you've got all the various links there. So what I'm going to do now is just take you through how I did this, because what we're trying to advocate to as many advisors as possible is that you become the newsreader. You introduce your articles in Feedsy, and this is how you can do it. So you've got 3 different options that I will use. One is you just turn your camera around and face you. You can even hand hold it. The one I did was a handheld video, and you hit record, and then you send it to YouTube. Another little app that I thought was really cool, and these are linked and will be on the presentation when we send to you, is a prompter. If you record yourself or have tried and you have too many outtakes and it doesn't work for you, there's a little teleprompter. And this is basically what I've said. It's a screen capture, and that's the app. So it's free for a small amount of text or unlimited for $14.95. I did download it for what I wanted to achieve, recorded what I wanted to achieve, send it to YouTube. And that's another way of actually having your, introducing your newsletter. And what I mean by introducing your newsletter is you might have 10 stories there from Feedsy, and one might be about COVID-19, one might be about China trade, one might be about tax. So you might say in your intro, hey, Steve here, coming to you with our new newsletter for for May. And in this edition, we've got 3 really important articles that I really want to sort of convey to you. One's about tax, leading up to tax time, you know, what you can do, what you might need to get together for your you know, June 30 tax audit. The other one is about COVID-19. It's a real important one about all the latest developments state by state, about how you can stay healthy, stay that social distancing, etc. And the other one is all about what's happening in China. And if you're a farmer right now, some of the things you might be facing. Enjoy the read. I hope to catch up soon. And that's what all might say, but because you're using video, you're becoming very familiar in the way that you come across, and you're just introducing content. But that's what creating videos trying to achieve. Or we can do it on an SLR camera here, and have a tripod, etc.
Actually, a fourth option too is actually use your webcam too, like we're doing now. Just record yourself on your camera.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. So this is really what we're going to do. I went into YouTube. I copied and pasted the YouTube URL. I created a post, and it appeared in the newsletter. So if I was going to do that now, I've got the YouTube here. It's on. I've uploaded to YouTube. Basically, that's going to start playing. I can copy that URL. So now I've got it there, and I'm going to create a post. So I'm going to go in here. Now, this one's already been prepared and done earlier, but I'm going to show you how I did that. So I'm going to go into news and just add new. So you can see I was in here before rearranging the stories, but now I'm just going to add a new story. I can give it a title, and it might be something like, you know, video. We probably recommend just doing video like that. And it might be update from Steve. But all I'm going to do is paste that YouTube URL in here. And what happens is the thumbnail just comes up. So easy, like that. And when I hit, I can just categorize it here, you know, in terms of video, etc. We've got a few. And the format video, and go publish. Now I'm going to have 2 videos on the system. Now just imagine if my newsletter was going out tomorrow.
That's because you love seeing yourself, don't you, Steve?
Not really. But if we go back to all articles, you know, we're going to have update from Steve here. My spelling wasn't very good. So here's the 2 videos. So that's as easy as it is. So hopefully that describes how you can do a quick recording, introduce your newsletter, and then it's all done for you. And Gav, you want to talk about, I guess we've got 2 slides to go, guys. We're pretty well bang on time.
Almost there.
Yeah, so thanks for bearing with us.
All right, so you're going to be...
I can keep clicking rather than put it over to you.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so pricing. So Canalys, Zoom, and Feedsy have their own pricing. Canalys starts off free. I won't go into all the details now, but if you click on the link when we give you the presentation for all plans, you'll see, I guess, the range of plans I've got, and I guess the features you get with the various plans. But to highlight that, Canalys, I think for free, you only get 1 meeting kind only, and you can't customize things too much. You pay, I think it's only, it's less than $20, isn't it? It's about $12 a person, around about that. Actually, maybe
it's $12 US. I think it's $12 US, Gab, which is about $20 Australian. Yeah.
Yeah, and that allows you to have multiple things. Zoom for free. You can do one-on-one meetings for unlimited time. If you have more than 1 person join the meeting, you've only got 40 minutes before the meeting cuts out. I think it's 40 or 50 minutes. So you might need to upgrade to, I think, $20 a month for Zoom if you want to do unlimited time for unlimited people. Yeah, so Zoom has some extra features if you go past the 0, but the 0 can get you out of trouble, because it covers most things you're doing one-on-ones with people most of the time. And with Feedsy, we have various plans. There's a small setup fee, then there's a monthly fee starting from $79 a month, depending what plan you go on. Actually, maybe Steve, click on the all plans for Feedsy, just so we can sort of go through really quickly, I guess, the different plans. So we've basically showed you today Communicator. Communicator is the email newsletter platform where you can choose either one story, one category a week, or 10 categories. We recommend the 10 categories to give you a broader range. So the one category is 79, the 10 categories is 149. There's a small setup fee, there's a once-off fee to get things set up for you, which is basically a blog page and an email newsletter. And then the campaigner does that, plus it does extra things like for instance, segmentation. So if you just scroll down a little bit quickly, Steve, it does all things like segmentation. You can do a print version as well. You can do things like birthday mail and some extra features as well. And then on the third plan, which is called Applicator, you get all those things, plus you can get a referral product, as well as a net promoter score, which is a way of getting feedback from your clients whenever you have a transaction with them, or maybe on a quarterly basis automatically. So there are different plans, but what we showed you today basically is the Communicator plan, which is our base product, which I would say most of our clients really enjoy using. We have a bit of the clients use all the plans, but Communicator is what we showed you today.
And we do have a member offer, don't we, for the TAA, the Advisors Association?
Yeah, so maybe click on that page too. So if you click on this link here, you have this is a page that we've made especially for the Advisors Association. Basically goes through what Feedsy is. You can book a demo from there as well. But it has our offer, so you get 20% off the setup fee, plus we give you 60 days to pay your first subscription. So you have setup fee, then it's 60 days before you pay your next subscription. We give you a special coupon code for that.
Guarantee if you don't like it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so we've got so you can click on there for some testimonials, and also you can click on for a coupon code as well. So that's always there all the time. So the offer is always available. But I guess today we've got a special offer as well. So if you go down, so if you basically book in a Feedsy setup in the next 48 hours, we'll give you 50% off rather than 20% off. We'll still give you the 60 days off. That's still the same. But also we'll give you free help setting up your Calendly and Zoom. So we reckon it shouldn't take more than 2 hours to do that. Plus we'll give you a bit of support after it's happened. But we can help you set up your Calendly and Zoom, and we'll even give you answer some questions about it as well. So if you set up with Feedsy, we'll give you that stuff for free. Like I said, we make no money out of Calendly and Zoom. That's not there's no affiliation program or anything. We're just doing it because we love it and we want to help you. So what you need to do is click on that Book Now button, which we'll give you a link for as well. Click on that and book a time, which will basically go to a Calendly page. Surprise, surprise. Book a time for the future. It doesn't need to be, the time you book doesn't need to be 48 hours time. It could be next week, next month, whenever. As long as you make that booking, click it, make the booking within 48 hours, we can honor this plan. So when you do start in the future, we'll give you this thing here. But I guess the sooner you set up, the sooner we can help you with your Calendly and Zoom.
Good. Well, we are only about 5 minutes over, I think, Gavin. So that was a lot to cover there, and hopefully you got a bit out of that, everyone. So it sounds like you are all doing some of that, but it's I guess with efficiencies, it's about how we bring all of that together as a package, so that you do have appointment bookings just happening. You do have emails going out just happening beautifully. You do have give your clients a choice of whether they see you face to face or via a virtual meeting. And we've all been forced into that virtual meetings over the last couple of months. And quite honestly, I think a lot of people have actually enjoyed it. In terms of just being able to have a meeting in their lounge room or whatever, and the efficiencies it can create. So I've been talking to a lot of advisors, and some of those meetings, including mine with my face-to-face meetings with my advisor, might go an hour and a half. I do that face-to-face for an hour and a half sometimes by the time he has a good chat. But on a Zoom meeting, that could almost be condensed down to 45 minutes. You're really saving a bit of time there, and you don't really lose much of the engagement. I know you love the face-to-face, so do I, but it just gives you another avenue to be really efficient in your business. So hopefully those tools have really helped. And really, I want to thank you, our advice industry, again for what you're doing for everyone and what you're doing for myself personally and for our business. It's really, really valuable at the moment in terms of the advice that you are providing people. We need it. We need the advice industry now more than ever. So thank you for your time today, and hopefully we'll get to catch up with you. Soon.
So we'll send you a link of the video, link of the slides itself. Also, we'll give you the link to the Book Now button as well, so you can take advantage of the offer if you so choose to.
All right, over and out.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Gav, as well. All right. Talk soon.
Steve.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.